YouTube, what's poppin'? Today we're looking at why the UFC is basically a cartel. Let's see what they talking about, man.
We all know the UFC underpays fighters, especially starting contracts on 10,000 to show, 10,000 to win. But have you ever really asked yourself, why? Maybe they just don't have enough money. For example, at UFC 306, the worst floor seat cost was $12,000. One seat, $12,000. That means one chair was worth more than a fighter who showed up, fought, and lost. So why is this happening? One short, one long. The short answer, they don't.
What? More than the fighter that show up and lost? He put his life on the line? A UFC fighter? No way. No way. I knew the business was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. Come on, man. Ain't gonna lie, UFC fighters, y'all might need to choose another profession, man. It's not paying. It's not paying. For real.
Need to pay more? The long answer. Let's break it down. In the 2000s, MMA wasn't just the UFC. There was real competition like Pride in Japan, Strikeforce in the US, WEC, or Elite XC. If you were a fighter back then, you had options. And because you had options, the UFC had to pay more. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a monopoly. But instead of fighting competition, they did what billionaires always do. They bought the competition.
Of course,
Pride,
yep.
bought
the
and
company.
shut down. Strikeforce,
Exactly what I was thinking.
bought and absorbed. WEC, gone. Elite XC, collapsed. And the UFC picked up the pieces. One by one, the options disappeared. And when the dust settled, only Bellator was left standing. At first, Bellator was a solid competitor. They picked up whatever the UFC didn't want anymore, like Rampage Jackson and Chael Sonnen. They had few solid names like Are You Not Entertained? Patricio Pitbull, Michael Venom Page, Douglas Lima, Shlemenko, and others. Bellator wasn't the UFC, but it was real. It kept some pressure on the system. Until it didn't. Over time, Bellator fell apart. Bad business, bad matchmaking, bad leadership. And while Bellator crumbled, the UFC kept rising. The 2010s were the years of McGregor. Massive fights, massive pay-per-views. By the mid-2010s, the UFC wasn't just the biggest promotion. It was the fight game. Everything else, just leftovers. Once the competition...
Honestly, he not lying, bro. That's the only thing I hear when it comes to fighting, other than boxing, of course, but when it comes to like martial arts, MMA, UFC, that's the only thing we know. Only thing I know. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. That's the only thing that's talked about, man. He not lying.
was gone, everything changed. The UFC didn't have to fight for talent anymore. They owned the talent. If you were a fighter, you had two choices: sign with the UFC or fade into obscurity. Bellator tried to compete for a while, but it never reached the same level. And now Bellator is gone too, bought by the PFL, another so-called option off the table. The UFC became the gatekeeper to fame, to money, to legacy. And when you control everything, you control the prices too. Now, yes, if you're a big name, you're probably getting paid. Adesanya, John Jones, or Paddy Pimblett. You're bringing eyeballs, you're moving numbers, you're valuable. And for those guys, the UFC cuts bigger checks, as they should. But for the rest, for the guys trying to break through, the starting pay is the same garbage it's been for over a decade. 10 and 10, since at least 2010. And the $50,000 bonus, same as it was back in the Brock Lesnar days. Meanwhile, the UFC's business exploded. The pay-per-view prices went up, the gate numbers tripled, and Dana White can't stop talking about how he's breaking all the gate records.
The gate was 11.5 million. UFC now holds the number 1, 2, and 3 highest gate record of all time at the
gate record?
The UFC is making 10 times what they were in 2010. But fighters at the bottom, they're stuck at 10 and 10. Maybe you can live with the fact that the UFC is a business.
Now, I must admit, from a business standpoint, I get why it's 10 and 10. For the new fighters that join the UFC, they got to earn their pay. You know what I'm saying? They got to put in work and earn their pay. I get it. Just like with any other business. You start at the bottom, you got to work your way up, to get that top pay. But 10 and 10 is crazy, though. It's crazy, especially you putting your life on the line, bro. You can die in a martial arts fight. You can die at any moment. Your health could be shambled. Yes, put in pieces, man. 10 and 10, come on, Dana White. Come on, Dana White, stop playing with the fighters out there, man. Give them some more pay, give them some more bread. You making enough. Stop being selfish, man. Killing me with this, bro.
First. But the one thing that shouldn't slip
You
through
wanna
the
give people
cracks is the
breadcrumbs.
starting
Where they
contract.
do that at?
10 plus 10 is
See,
disgusting.
that for the birds.
It's criminal. Let's do the math. You fight for 10 and 10. You lose. You only get 10. You pay taxes. Now you're at 7. You pay your trainer and your manager. You're left with 4, maybe 5. $4,000 for months of training. Weight cuts, brain damage. Honestly, it's literally better to beg on the street than to lose a UFC fight. It's not just about low pay. It's about control. The UFC controls everything. Who you fight, when you fight, what you get paid, and what sponsors you're allowed to have. You want to wear your own sponsor in the cage? Nope. Only UFC-approved logos. Remember when fighters could earn real sponsor money? 5 figures, 6 figures. Now they get a tiered bonus based on how many UFC fights they've had. And it's not just sponsors. The UFC controls pay-per-view money too. You'd think if you're a champion, you got, let's say, $2 per pay-per-view buy, and your fight sells 1 million pay-per-views, $2 million, right? Nope. Here's how it actually works. From 0 to 500,000 buys, you only get $1 per buy. From 500,000 to 750,000, you get $1.50. Only after that, from 750 to 1 million, you get $2 per buy. So instead of getting $2 million, you get $1,375,000.
$1,375,000? Are you serious? UFC? Y'all that cheap? Pay-per-view buys? Man. Come on. $2 a buy when it's $7.50 and up for the pay-per-view. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, I was just looking at the Kai Cenat Mafia-thon. Y'all probably don't even know about that. You know what I'm saying? Or you never know. Most of y'all probably do. But Twitch revenue for a Prime sub, I think it's like, I could be wrong, but put it like this. It's above $2. it's above $2, bro. $2. It's above that. You know that, right? For one sub. For one sub. So just imagine 1 million subs for Kai Cenat. 1 million subs. It's probably what? Between $3.99 to $8.99. Imagine how much money he getting, gang. Compared to top dogs in the UFC game. They're trying to sell a fight. It's ridiculous, man. Come on now. I'm not a mathematician, but I know that's bad math. Come on, UFC. I gotta do better, man.
So even if you sell out the arena, you're still getting scaled percentages like it's a phone data plan. And here's the thing. You can't complain. You can't speak out, because if you do, you might never get booked again. This isn't just about fighter pay, or sponsorships, or contracts. It's about how the business is structured. The UFC isn't just a fight promotion. It's the center of the MMA world. Now, if you want to be seen as the best, you fight in the UFC. Simple as that. The UFC decides who gets signed, who gets pushed, who gets paid. You don't negotiate like a free agent. You accept what's on the table or you don't fight. And most fighters can't afford to walk away because there's nowhere else to go. That's just what happens when one company becomes the market. The UFC built that dominance. They earned it, but it also means they don't have to share much.
Today, I'm working with Topps and giving away a prize pack of trading cards worth over $5,000.
Maybe this is just how the fight business works.
If you don't like it, there's a simple solution to this problem. Go start your own MMA organization. No barrier to entry. Knock yourself out. Pay them whatever you want to pay them.
But if you're a fighter entering that system, you should know exactly what you're signing up for.
That is true. You should know. You should definitely know. And that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I ain't mean to play the next video, but it is what it is. Hey, but look though, man. That is business. Think about that, a real job. That's how it go. That's how it go. If they don't want to pay you as much as you want to be paid, they don't have to pay you that much, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. That is how it go in the business world. And wow, that's tough for UFC fighters because it's only like one global brand. But hey, I go, man. Hopefully things get better for y'all. But it's your boy Scotty Love. I just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. And last but not least, I'm gone.